Rudang Shukla here, CEO, PCCU CIIL, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Linkages Forum, a Section 8 company established by the PCET firm to support and facilitate the startups and eventually innovations and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Let me introduce Mr. Shiv Sajjanar. Mr. Shiv Sajjanar is operational head of TechMahindra. He is an head of the procurement and SCM operations at TechMahindra, an industrial engineer and the management with a management degree. A supply chain professional with a 20 plus years of the experience, with the proven skills in negotiating, with a track record for reducing cost, improving profits, and improvising the purchasing programs to meet the corporate objectives in the banking, pharma, automotive, and manufacturing industries. He has successfully managed multiple delivery accounts, large teams, and has a passion for the learning of new languages. Currently, he knows more than 9 languages, right? He possesses a very strong background in applying and innovative concepts to reduce the cost, improving efficiencies, and planning and executing strategies with the results which results in the client satisfactions and strengthening the business results. I welcome Mr. Shiv here. Mr. Shiv, I am honored to have you today, and along with it joining is head of our management department, School of Management Department, Dr. Ajay Sharma. Let me give you a brief introduction of him. Dr. Ajay Sharma is a well-known authority in the human resource management and a pioneer in the arena of the management education. He's been serving as a professor and the head of the department, and he has taught more than in the various institutes like GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Research, Greater Noida, IEC College, and many more. He has guided many of the research scholars and various reputed universities and the countries. Along with him, joining are many of the students and many of the faculties also. I am honored to have you as well, Dr. Ajay sir. I'll be a co-host and Mr. Ajay sir as a host. I request now, Mr. Shiv, please let's now start with the webinar on supply chain management, and we are all ready for the next supply disruptions. Thank you so much, Shiv, and please podium to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mridang, and good morning, Dr. Ajay. Good morning, everyone who's there on the call today. So to start with, I would apologize for any background noise. There is some work going on in the background where I'm talking right now from. So please bear with me for that. Moving on, let me start by sharing. I think Mridang, you'll have to enable participant screen sharing for me, please.
Sure, sir. Mr. Rahul or Harshita, can you please allow guest to share the slides?
Shuklaji?
Yes, sir.
Before Shiv Sajjanar sir begin, I would request Saren to play our PCU video. If she is there, she can run it.
Yeah.
Sure.
We want to get him acquainted with what exactly we are. Right?
Hello.
You guys know about us, na?
Several buses available from Belgaum station to PC campus.
Sajjan sir should also know something about us, na?
Right. I'll give that introduction. I thought of giving an introductions in the okay. Let me inform you, sir, and also to all the participants about the Pimpri Chinchwad University. The Pimpri Chinchwad University established under the recognitions of the Education Board, and it's established by the PCET Trust. PCET Trust is a trusted brand in the education since 1990. offering and quality educations from the KG to PG, PhD, with a mission of serving the societies, industries, and all the stakeholders through the value inculcating quality educations in the area of schooling, professional tutelage in the field of engineering, management, and the computer applications. PCU, Pimpri Chinchwad University, was recognized by the University Grant Commissions, offering the courses in the School of Engineering and Technology, School of Management, along with BCA and MCA courses as well, School of Design, School of Science, including BSc in the Clinical Psychology, BSc Clinical Microbiology, BSc Nutrition and Dietitian, School of Media and Communication Studies, School of Humanity and Liberal Arts, School of Pharmacies, and also the School of Vocational Sciences. I request host to play the video. Mr. Rahul, I request you to play the video.
Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust has established a state private university known as Pimpri Chinchwad University at Sate, Vadgaon Mawar in Pune Metropolitan Regional Development Authority. It is a 30-acre campus of academic facilities and amenities for students and teachers to help them to achieve their fullest potential. The Pimpri Chinchwad University campus is well connected with the cities Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad by road through Mumbai-Pune National Highway number 4 as well as Mumbai-Pune Expressway. Also, railway station Kanhe is at 1 kilometer distance. The nearest airport is Pune Airport. PCU has its different verticals which prepares leaders from different fields. School of Engineering and Technology. School of Design. School of Media Arts and Communication Studies by incorporating cultural activities, events, and organized tours and trips, fostering a holistic development approach. In essence, Pimpri Chinchwad University is not just an institution. It is a vibrant ecosystem that nurtures talent, fosters creativity, and provides a platform for students to thrive in every aspect of their academic journey. PCU bus transport provides service across the city. Pimpri Chinchwad University, transformative education that empowers success in a rapidly evolving world.
Thank you so much for playing the video. I apologize for not starting this in the initial. That's a Pimpri Chinchwad University for you, Mr. Shiv, and all the participants here. Pimpri Chinchwad University has legacy of the Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust, which is established since 1990 from KG to PhD, nurturing the educations from the KG to PhD. Over to you, Shiv. Let's start supply chain disruptions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just what I can say is, wow, that's one of the dream institutes where any youngster would want to pursue their professional studies. Right from, as you rightly said, Mr. Madan, right from kindergarten all the way up to, I'm sure, PhD as well. And you name the stream, the PCCU has it. So it's a pleasure to, participate in this webinar and share bits of my knowledge to the audience here. Okay. So I am now going to share. I think still.
जाऊ शकतो का तो इंटरव्ह्यू द्यायला?
Yeah, please enable the sharing, screen sharing.
Yeah, just. I'll do for you, sir. Just a minute. I'm taking that.
Sir, you can share
Are you
the
able to see?
screen.
Are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen, sir? The presentation?
I have started sharing. Please confirm if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, visible.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much for confirming. To start with, let me talk a little about what is supply chain. I'm presuming the audience here is all students from engineering, management, etc. So the audience that I'm referring to is just about to step into the corporate world after completing the course that you are currently pursuing. Now, once you step into the corporate world, you will start hearing about this word: supply chain, procurement, purchasing, the material shortage, the service provider contracts, and so on. So supply chain basically, in a very layman terms, ensures enabling the goods and services required for any business entity to perform their day-to-day operations seamlessly. Now, let me take an example of a typical manufacturing scenario. Let's take, for example, the McDonald's burgers. Not a good example, but since it is well known, let me start with that. So the making of the burgers starts right from McDonald's company acquiring the raw material required to make the tikkies or the content that goes between the bun. Right from there, they acquire everything required to make the bun, and they also acquire the infrastructure prepared to prepare and to process the raw material. So all this together are brought in the first stage, and they are set up into a factory where the raw material and the machineries from the supplier, everything comes in, and then they start preparing the burgers. And once the burgers are in a pre-cooked stage, they are through the distribution network, which could be multiple hubs, depending on the location of the stores where McDonald's is selling their burgers. So they have multiple channels. It could be most of the times it's via the road. They have a dedicated logistics operator who will move the semi-cooked burgers from the factory to the retail outlets. So this is something called as milk run, or the last mile delivery, first mile delivery. So those are the words which are used here. So at the retail outlet, once you step into any McDonald's store, you will see the menu on the screen. You order, and then basis your order, there is a person from McDonald's who will pass on the ordered burger, and that's where the typical supply chain activity ends. So, I mean, pick any industry, the supply chain is present there. Let me take a shot at how does the supply chain come into picture in various industries. So let's pick the manufacturing, for example, automotives. We talk about bikes and cars. So how does supply chain work here? So this entire supply chain activity enables the production lines by supplying the components, the body, the wheel, the transmission, and everything is brought into the production unit on time in the ordered specification and in the required quantity. So that's the first way it will impact in manufacturing. Then further, for managing inventory levels. So the supply chain function also ensures that the inventories are available at any given point of time to manage any spikes in the volume. Instead of waiting for the material to come in, there is definitely a need for maintaining certain inventory levels. Then the third important factor in manufacturing, in fact, this applies to all the industries where supply chain exists, the procurement strategy, which is basically the cost element and the long-term association with the supplier network. So supply chain helps in formulating a best strategy to ensure the required goods or services are available at the optimum cost and at the right time. So that's the manufacturing. Then coming to the retail and e-commerce. So classic example of Amazon. So what happens when you place an order on Amazon? So there is you click your button of completing the purchase on your Amazon app. So that actually triggers an order fulfillment process. So typically what happens, the supply chain function picks up the order from the app, delivers the requirement to the supplier who's listed and who's active on Amazon's network. And once the ordered goods are ready, the supply chain picks up the order, comes back and delivers it to you. Not just this, if you intend to return the ordered material or whatever goods, the supply chain again comes into picture by coming to your door, picking up the return material and sending it back to the hub where Amazon processes the returned goods. So this entire thing, set of tasks are managed by supply chain function in the retail industry. Healthcare, say for example, medical drugs or medicines, right? So here the primary function of supply chain is ensuring that the equipments and the material, the APIs as we call them, accredited pharma ingredients required to manufacture a particular medicine are supplied to the pharma manufacturing company, and then thereby once the medicine are ready, carrying them all the way up to the dealer network or the stockist network. That is something which is done by supply chain. Then food and beverage, we already covered the McDonald's example. Moving on, the automotive industry. So we spoke about car. So, automotive industry is one of those industries where the subcomponents or the amount of material that go into a particular vehicle are numerous. They run into thousands and thousands. So this is where the supply chain becomes more intricate, more critical, because every shortage, if at all anything arises, will cause a monetary impact plus a loss in the customer satisfaction also, because the manufacturer would have committed a particular delivery date, and any shortfall will delay the entire delivery cycle, thereby resulting in customer dissatisfaction for a missed delivery date. So this is how supply chain impact works or exists in every industry in the world. moving on, what are the career opportunities for the budding engineers, budding management graduates? So in broad terms, the supply chain offers job opportunities across the industries that I just narrated in the previous slide. When we come to the next level of detail, there are different category of roles. So right from starting your career as a fresher, you can choose at the initial time, the regular roles, which could be typically an analyst in supply chain. Or what would an analyst in supply chain mean? He would coordinate with various logistics operators, inventory, manufacturing departments, the production departments as we call. So ensure that the plan is kept intact. Everything moves as per plan. That's what a typical analyst would do in a supply chain. Now moving on, the next one is logistics coordinator. I mentioned earlier. So this role basically is tracking every movement of every material and components. So, and then there is an inventory manager, which is typically the stores, one level above the stores managers. So this person will be, this role will be responsible to ensure the inventory levels are managed as per the stock levels. And whenever there is a requirement, this person owns the responsibility of triggering the replenishment, which goes to the purchasing departments, and they order the required goods or services from the suppliers who are already registered. Then the next one is the supply chain manager, who would be responsible for end-to-end supply chain, right from receiving the raw material all the way till placing an order to the suppliers whenever there is a need. So operations manager typically are the ones who handle day-to-day operations in various departments. So this is another role which you guys can look up to. Once you have had about few years of experience behind you, you can look at more specialized roles. So the first one here is demand planner. So demand basically comes from the forecast. So again, let me pick an example, Tata Motors. So Tata Motors forecasts to sell, say, 500,000 passenger vehicles in next quarter, for the sake of discussion. So that 500,000 vehicles is broken down into the material required to build those 500,000 vehicles. And then accordingly, you look at the inventory available for each of those components, and whatever shortfall is there between the inventory and the required 500,000 vehicle material, the demand planner triggers the requirement into the procurement organization. So he is the person who's responsible to ensure the planning for the next quarter, 2 quarters, year is actually passed on at the right time to the purchasing department or the procurement department. Next one is supply chain consultant. So these consultants basically are the ones who will look at opportunities to bring in transformation, bring in technology intervention, and move the way things are being done to the next level. So these guys will come with a different mindset. They look at every transaction that's happening with a critic point of view and suggest how things can be done differently or how it can be done efficiently. So this is another role you can look up after a few years of experience in supply chain. So chief of supply chain or the chief supply chain officer is responsible for an organization's overall supply chain operations. So this person typically reports to the managing director or the CEO, and comes with adequate experience required to manage all the facets of supply chain, be it procurement, be it logistics, be it warranties, be it inventory management, and so on. So typically, the chief supply chain officers come with around 20 plus years of relevant experience. So those are the supply chain management roles that you guys can look up to. Moving on, let's talk a little about procurement. So procurement is that subset of the entire supply chain, which performs the tasks of ordering the required goods or services and ensuring the delivery of the same as per the required timelines, which your demand planner has already determined. Okay. So purchasing is very basic activity. For example, each one of us carry out some or the other sort of purchasing. Let's say, I go to H&M. So at H, I pick up something that I want. Let's say, I pick up a t-shirts or a trouser for myself, right? So what do? I go pick up the apparel that's appealing to me. I get into the trial room. If it is good, from the trial room, I'll go into the billing counter and then pay for the apparels as per the bill generated by the H&M team, and then carry the goods to myself. This is a typical purchasing cycle in an individual's day-to-day life. The same thing, if we are talking about the corporate world, the amount of purchases increases in the number of transactions, in the value, in the size of the material that or the services that we procure. So imagine, you are running you join a company of say, 10,000 employees. So for all the 10,000 employees, besides the manufacturing requirement, which is the raw material required for the end product that the company sells, there will be so many things that are required. For example, the security staff, the housekeeping staff, the upkeep of the entire building, or buying the IT hardware or the Microsoft licenses that you need to operate in your day-to-day work, so on. So all these things are managed by a specific department called the procurement team or the purchasing team. On the screen, I have displayed 6 key elements in a purchasing cycle. So typically, purchasing starts with a need being identified. So a need could be something which is required afresh or a replacement or as part of the outcome of the organization. Okay, so this is where a need is triggered. Then the procurement department or the purchasing department identifies the potential suppliers or the service providers and negotiate with them on the required product and service with specification. Once the deal is finalized, at what rate, for how many days, and so on, there is a typical agreement, which is a contract, or it could be a rate card that gets finalized between the buyer and the service provider or the seller. And then to formalize the entire activity, a purchase order is raised to the supplier. So a contract along with the purchase order becomes a set of legitimate documents to the supplier to supply ordered goods or services as per the required, as per the mentioned specifications. So once that is done, the supplier delivers the ordered items or the services. The inventory or the stores department or the end users acknowledge the receipt of the ordered goods or services. So this is almost the end of the purchasing cycle. Once that is done, there is a typical three-way match, which is very common in the corporate world. So there is a purchase order, there is an invoice, and there is a GRN or an acknowledgement from the end user or the stores. Once all these 3 documents are submitted to the finance department, they process the payment to the supplier. So this is where typically a purchasing cycle ends. However, there are certain offshoots, in case of returns or warranties, where the purchasing departments has a another additional function to ensure the defective material are made good by the supplier, which is normally part of the contract that's already signed. So this is a typical purchasing cycle. Now the most important topic: what are the career opportunities that you can look for in procurement? Before going to the roles that are on the screen, let me talk a little about where all or which all industries can procurement be considered. Besides the primary industry that I mentioned, manufacturing, retail, the healthcare, food and beverage industry, or automotive industry, there is another industry called IT, the information technology industry. You might have heard companies like Infosys, Tata Consultancy, IBM, TechMahindra. So these are the IT companies which also involve a lot of procurement activities in two forms. The first form, where the procurement or the purchasing is done for their own consumption. Second is when the purchasing is done on behalf of a customer. So this is typically kind of back office work. So, global customers who want to focus on their core competency, outsource a certain part of their procurement activities to these companies like Infosys, TCS, etc. So that's another big chunk where a lot of roles exist. They are decently, handsomely paid as well, with a ample of employee benefits. That's another industry you can definitely look for. So that's about the opportunities, where we get to see roles coming for in procurement. Now, coming to the specific roles, typically you would start, the first year would be training, where you will be going across various departments, understanding how the organization works, right from administration to production to stores to purchasing to sales and the finance. So that's the typical cycle. Once that is done, the first role you can look up to is a procurement analyst. So analyst in typical terms is the person who's an executor. He carries out analysis of the, let's say, there is a requirement to innovate the managing director's cabin. So this analyst will prepare a set of, bill of material or a kind of RFP required to renovate the managing director's cabin. It could be something like, you change the carpet, you change the false ceiling, the table, the finishing, the paint, etc. Everything. This is something which an analyst does, right from listing out the requirements to identifying potential service providers or suppliers. And he submits his initial findings to the purchasing manager. So purchasing manager manages similar requirements from across the organization and makes decisions or recommendations to the next team, which is a strategic sourcing specialist. So strategic sourcing specialists are the techno-commercial experts who would have spent about 2-3 years in the organization. They develop knowledge of each and every commodity. So by commodity, what I mean is, for example, facilities. So the housekeeping, the employee pick and drop, which is there in most of the companies. All those are part of facilities. The upkeep of the air conditioning system in the office. So that's a category. So these strategic sourcing specialists develop expertise in that particular category to the extent they are aware of what is the current benchmark price, excuse me, for a particular service in that domain. So basis to which they arrive at what should be the benchmark price, and then call out various suppliers to submit their bids in order to fulfill the requirement. So again, going back to the earlier example of managing director's cabin, these guys reach out, the sourcing specialists develop a detailed technical specification and send out what we call as a RFP to the identified service providers. So moving on, the category managers, as I mentioned earlier, these are the commodity experts who come with abundant knowledge of the current trends in the market, the specifications of their particular category, or who are the best suppliers for their category, and so on. So the third and the fourth role, strategic sourcing specialist and category managers, these are extremely techno-commercial. So you will develop this knowledge or this sort of experience in about 2 to 4 years of corporate career in the procurement department. Moving on, supply relationship manager. So this is a key person, the key role which interacts with suppliers. In the recent trend, suppliers have become more important. There were days when suppliers were running after the buyers to get orders, but now is a time where the organizations are looking for long-term relationships with the suppliers. Hence, the supplier relationship manager becomes an advocate of all the suppliers within the organization. He ensures the suppliers' interests are always safeguarded. So this is again a typical 5 to 7 years of procurement experience that we will require. Global sourcing manager. Now, I was talking about companies like Infosys, etc., carrying out procurement on behalf of the clients. So this global sourcing role is typically purchasing something for an end user. You're sitting in India, for example, purchasing something for an end user who's based in, let's say, somewhere in the East Coast, and the supplier is somewhere in China. So the global sourcing manager talks to the end user in the US, gathers the requirement, then identifies the right source, which could be very well in China as well, and then places the order and ensures the requirements are fulfilled for the user sitting in the East Coast America. Now that's the global sourcing role which you can look up to. Then Chief Procurement Officer, again, very senior role in the organization. One has to have about 15-20 years of career in the purchasing department to look up to this role. So this role will be responsible for meeting the procurement strategies, rather devising the strategies, ensuring the strategies are met with, and reports into the board of the organization or into the managing director. So this is typically what the number of roles exist, or you can look up to in procurement. So yeah, that's the high level overview I had for today. I'm stopping to share the sharing now. Any questions? Anything, Rudan? We can set up more and more.
Yes,
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
yeah, this Dr. Ajay Sharma, the head of School of Management. Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can.
I have a very simple question to you. What sort of skill sets, capabilities, competencies are required for a supply chain professional?
Yeah. So typically, we in supply chain, both technical and non-technical graduates are absorbed. Graduation is the basic requirement. Besides that, the skills that we look at to hire somebody is one, a commercial mindset. Okay, so the person has to understand when he's buying something, he should be able to get into the details of what is he paying for. That's a typical commercial mindset. That's the second thing. Third, as we look for more and more senior roles, a few years of experience in the relevant area is what we look at. And then there are a few certification courses also, which we expect the person to come with. Hope that answered the question, Dr. J.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Any other questions?
Good morning, sir. This is Rajiv from the team of management.
Good morning, Mr. Rajiv.
Yeah. So my question is, as a a direct fallout of Dr. Sharma's question, I wanted to know at the entry level, say for students from engineering discipline and management discipline, is there any demarcation or distinction between the two roles, or are they similar at the inception stages?
There is definitely a demarcation. So that's the simple answer. Now, how the management grads are typically considered to have acquired a bit maturity in terms of understanding of how a corporate entity or a business functions. So right from the economies till the financials to the administration. So we typically hire management graduates at a slightly elevated level as compared to the technical graduates. Now, technical graduates normally are considered, more techno-functional experts. And there is a different stream for technical grads when we look at, absorbing them as freshers into the industry.
Great. And so somebody with an engineering and say management background, just in case, I mean, of course, there are exceptions. Do you have any plan for them as well?
Definitely, yes. I mean, Mr. Rajiv, I myself is a industrial engineering and a management graduate. So definitely, yes. So, this is a classic expectation, most desired rather. If I'm hiring somebody in my team, I would want a person who comes with a management graduate because he would have covered some of the ground already. So typically, a person with a BE and MBA is what we look at, say, for a management trainee with a very short duration of training into the industry, as compared to a non-technical management graduate.
I understand. Perfect. And I'm sure, sir, under your tutelage and your mentorship, definitely, I mean, irrespective of their background, definitely they will grow in their career over a period of time. Thank you so much. That does answer my question. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question, one. Let's start with the industrial education qualification. I mean, I say technical education qualification like engineering, and then also along with the management, if the person or the student has that qualification.
Yeah.
Let's start with first is a procurement analyst, which you mentioned as a first fresher job, as in, right?
Yeah.
So what could be the expectations in terms of a salary at that point of a time to reaching out to the chief procurement officers? So what could be the slabs of it, and what is the opportunity for that?
Okay. So let's start with the first role at the entry level. As I mentioned, typically, we absorb freshers as the trainees. We provide them 6 months to 1 year of training. Okay. At this point, there is a more or less norm across the industry. Are you also looking at the numbers here, Mr. Murdan?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The world is fascinated by the numbers itself, sir.
Yeah. I understand. Let me try and give you some ballpark numbers. Don't hold me for it because
yes,
it's from organization to organization. and industry to industry. So let me talk about manufacturing, for example. So at a training, in a leading automotive company or an IT company. So at a entry level, the current trends are anywhere between 2.5 lakhs to start with, and goes all the way up to 15 lakhs for the freshers. It depends on the institute that you have passed out. It depends on the marks that you have, the grade that you have obtained, and the skills that you demonstrate during the evaluation phase. From there, which is an analyst role, you move one level up where you become a specialist after a few years of experience into the domain. Now, at this level, the salary levels can go up by about 25 to 50% from what you have you entered in. So typical salary ranges from say around 8 lakh to 20 lakh rupees in the next slab. Again, these are just indicative numbers. These can vary up to 100% in reality, but I'm just giving you some numbers. From the specialist role, you get into the management role, which starts with a typical assistant manager. If you are getting in as a graduate. So at an assistant manager level, which is a more responsible job, where you will have different sourcing, procurement analysts, procurement specialists under you. So the experience levels that we look for are around between 7 to 12 years. And the slabs here, again, it depends. I cannot give a number, because what happens is a person who was at, say, X at a specialist role may choose to join another organization where the salary can become 2x or 3x or x into 0.5. So hence hereafter rather, the salary slabs become very dynamic, so to say. Just to give you an understanding, after about 7 years of corporate experience in procurement and supply chain, an assistant manager in a leading automobile company or a leading IT company would be earning anywhere between 15 to 25 lakhs per annum as a CTC. So then we move up one more level, which is the manager level. The expectation is about 12 to 18 years of experience at a managerial level. And here it is a more responsible role. Again, there are two different streams here. Once you reach this place, either you can continue to operate as an individual contributor, gaining more and more expertise in the domain, or you choose a managerial role where you start becoming responsible for the delivery of the team. So, let me pick the first one. The first one is very commonly available role. Is there any question? Can I request the person to unmute, please? Yeah, thank you.
I hope we are done, Mr. Mridam. All questions have been smartly taken care by Mr. Shiv Sajjanar, sir.
Yeah.
So I think it's a time to propose vote of thanks to you, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So basically, I was more. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Sharma, please, sir.
So before I propose vote of thanks to Mr. Shiv Sajjanar, I would like to extend my thanks, heartfelt thanks to Mr. Mridam Sukla, who has been instrumental to meet Mr. Shiv Sajjanar with us. Sir, before I really close up this vote of thanks, I invite you for my orientation, which is likely to be held in next month, that too in the month of August, as a chief guest or a guest of honor for my orientation program. I'm really thankful to again Mr. Mridam, who has connected you with us, who is one of the stalwart of the industry. And at the same time, I express my heartfelt thanks to my entire digital team, Ms. Saran, Mr. Udatta, my all management faculties, Mr. Rajiv, Professor Aboli, Mr. Ankush Srivastav, Dr. Raj Kamal, Mr. Ajay Mishra, who are always there to support us in carrying out such events and webinars. Once it comes to supply chain as a domain for management profession, am I audible now? I think. Can you all hear me?
Yes, loud and clear,
Yes, sir,
sir.
you are very much audible.
Because we need to confirm now, because this is something different mode. No?
Absolutely. The virtual world. Yeah.
So, Sajjanar sir, I'm really thankful to you that within no time, you spared time for us and gave your assent and consent to Mr. Madang to carry out this webinar. So we are extremely thankful. We really do not have words to express our gratitude and thankfulness to you. So thank you so much, sir. The domains or the various subjects which you had covered today were pertaining to, way back in 20 years, 22 years back, I had ever heard. So today, again, they are revised. If somebody asks me today about supply chain management, I can speak a bit after this webinar delivered from you. So the supply chain functioning, you talked about for the retail industry, healthcare industry, right? Automotive industry, IT industries. Other than this, you talked about career opportunity in supply chain management, like supply chain analyst. And I'm telling you frankly, I was not knowing about all this, that this line goes like this. Abundance of opportunities, you have really made us, convinced to really go it further for our students who really seek their career in supply chain management. Now we would be more clear about what to tell them, that you may become this, you may become this, and you may become that. So other than this, supply chain analysts, logistics coordinators, inventory manager, supply chain manager, operations management, specialized role. You talked about demand planner, where forecasting is much needed. Supply chain consultant is another, opportunity. Chief supply chain officer. So these were the areas where you communicated about the various opportunity in the domain of supply chain management. Other than this, right from the procurement of raw material to the finished goods, then finally reaching to the customer. Beautifully taken the example of Amazon and other such companies. And other than this, you talked about purchasing cycle, where you again talked about career opportunities, procurement, like procurement analyst, purchasing manager, strategic sourcing specialist, supplier relationship manager, global sourcing manager, chief procurement officer. So these were really, sir, so worthy, so fruitful, so advantageous, so beneficial areas where you really hit us. And now we are very much pretty clear about the various, dimensions, verticals, horizons of supply chain management. So again, sir, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you very much, sir. And I especially invite you right in the advance for my orientation. Please be with us. I will definitely share you formal invitation for you. And I would like to see you now in the physical form at my campus. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And indeed, thanks, Dr. Ajay, for joining this. Thank you, Dr. Ajay, sir, and all the faculties of PCU, management faculties of the PCU, and Mr. Shiv, as Dr. Sharma invited for the orientation program, soon will convey to you. And also for the students, and further going on, seminars and the webinars will continue in your domain expertise. We're obliged to have you today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. And it was a great pleasure talking to all the stalwarts of the education industry. And I would be more keen whenever time permits, to come down and share my knowledge to the students and meet yourself, Dr. Ajay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. With the permission of Dr. Ajay, sir, can we now end this webinar?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay.
Thank
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.